Riches begin with a state of mind, with definiteness of purpose, with little or no hard work.
Mr. Hill, it's a true honor to have this conversation. A very important one, I believe.
The pleasure is all mine, Dr. Sinclair.
You know, when it comes to financial success, two names, two books almost always rise to the surface as cornerstones. Your work, Think and Grow Rich, and of course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes, I'm familiar with Mr. Kiyosaki's work.
And the popular take, the initial reading, is that they represent two very different paths. You focus on the unseen world of the mind, on thought, on belief, on the metaphysics of achievement.
An understandable interpretation, though perhaps an incomplete one. Yes, the foundation of any great achievement is first laid in the workshop of the mind. It all begins with a thought, or more accurately, with a desire, a burning desire.
Exactly, a burning desire. That's your signature. And on the other hand, you have Mr. Kiyosaki, who focuses on the tangible, financial literacy, numbers, figures, the difference between an asset and a liability, learning the language of money, as he puts it.
A most valuable skill to acquire, undeniably.
It is. And this is precisely where a great challenge, a major question, arises for the modern audience.
I'm eager to hear it.
Mr. Hill, with all the immense respect I have for your timeless principles, many people today find them to be a bit intangible, abstract. In contrast, Kiyosaki gives people concrete, measurable tools, a balance sheet, an income statement. He says, buy this. It's an asset that puts money in your pocket. Don't buy that. It's a liability that takes money out. It's crystal clear.
Go on.
The core question is this. In our complex, data-driven world, an age of endless financial information, isn't technical financial knowledge ultimately more important than mindset? Isn't there a danger that focusing purely on mindset becomes a form of well-intentioned escapism, a kind of positive thinking self-delusion, while our bank accounts remain empty?
That is a brilliant question, truly, because it strikes at the very root of the matter, at what lies beneath the surface.
I'm glad you think so, because it seems to be the exact point where so many people get lost.
Precisely. People search for techniques when the flaw so often lies within the individual, within the engine that is meant to execute those techniques.
Exactly. And to make this more tangible, you spent years with Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men in history. On the other hand, Mr. Kiyosaki built his entire philosophy on the story of his two fathers, the rich dad and the poor dad. If you were to analyze those two figures from your perspective, where would you locate the true root of their difference? Was it really just that one understood money and the other didn't?
No, not at all. That is the simplest and therefore the most common error in judgment. The primary difference was far deeper. It was in their mental blueprint.
Their mental blueprint.
Yes. Consider the poor dad, a highly educated man, a brilliant man, yet his mind was imprisoned by the question, what if? What if I fail? What if I lose my money? What if people laugh at me? His entire existence revolved around the avoidance of risk and the search for security.
Job security, a steady paycheck, benefits, the things society teaches us to value as success.
Indeed. And they are the greatest enemies of great fortune, not in themselves, but as ceilings we impose upon our own potential. The poor dad wasn't programmed for poverty. He was programmed for mediocrity. His mind was conditioned to see a monthly salary as the ultimate prize. He was a victim of the two most formidable beasts of the mind, fear and doubt. For all his academic knowledge, he lacked faith in his own ability to create.
So, in your view, his core deficit wasn't a lack of financial literacy, but a lack of self-belief.
Belief and desire. He held no burning desire for riches, merely a vague wish, and a wish holds no power. Now, consider the rich dad. He operated from an entirely different principle, the principle of faith, not in a purely religious sense, but absolute faith in himself, faith in his ideas, faith that he was worthy of wealth.
So, where the poor dad saw risk, he saw opportunity.
Precisely, because his mind was programmed to seek out opportunity. It reminds me of a conversation I once had with Mr. Carnegie. I asked him how he built his steel empire. I expected him to speak of chemical formulas, manufacturing processes, or complex market strategies.
And what did he say?
He chuckled and said, "Young man, it all began with an idea, just one. The idea of manufacturing steel through a new process, making it faster and cheaper." He said that when the idea came to him, he had nothing. No capital, no factories, not enough technical knowledge. He just had the idea. But he embraced that idea with such desire and faith. He nurtured it in his mind daily until it became a magnificent obsession, a burning desire. It was only then that he began to attract the capital, the knowledge, and the right people.
So it was faith in the idea first, and the tools followed, not the other way around.
Exactly. You see? The rich dad, like Mr. Carnegie, was wealthy in his mind first. He knew he could get there. Financial literacy, that was the tool this powerful mindset used to build reality. But the poor dad, even if he had possessed the best tools, he would have lacked the courage to use them. Fear would have stayed his hand. Instead of seeking to build assets, he spent his entire life building security for others by working for a boss.
So you're saying poor dad's problem wasn't a lack of information, but paralysis by fear. And rich dad's advantage wasn't just his knowledge, but the courage and faith to apply that knowledge.
You have summarized it beautifully. Knowledge without application is useless, and the root of action or inaction lies in the mind, in our faith or in our fear.
Precisely. And that brings us back to your original question, to that apparent conflict between my philosophy and that of Mr. Kiyosaki.
Yes, the conflict between mindset and technical knowledge.
You see, Dr. Sinclair, the two philosophies are not enemies. They are not even rivals. They are two sides of the same coin. Or perhaps a better way to put it is that they are two indispensable stages of a single process.
Two stages of a single process. That's fascinating. Please explain what you mean.
My principles, a burning desire, faith, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning, persistence. These are the operating system of your mind.
The operating system.
Yes, a powerful, fast, stable operating system, free from the viruses of fear and doubt. An operating system that has been optimized for one specific function, achievement. And the financial literacy that Mr. Kiyosaki so rightly teaches, the knowledge of assets, liabilities, cash flow, investment strategies, that is the application software. Powerful, high-performance software that you install onto that operating system.
Software.
You cannot, no one can, run the best, most expensive financial software in the world on a weak, outdated, and virus-infected operating system. What happens? Either the program fails to launch, or it constantly freezes and crashes, or it eventually corrupts the entire system. That is precisely what happens to millions of people.
My goodness, that reframes everything. So all those people who fail, even though they know everything about investing, they've taken the courses, read the books, their problem isn't the software, it's their operating system.
Exactly. They have the how to invest software, but they are trying to run it on an operating system infected with the virus of fear of loss, or I'm not good enough, or this is too big for me. The result? Paralysis, inaction, or panicked decisions at the first sign of market volatility.
And conversely, someone with a powerful operating system, someone with faith, a definite purpose, and persistence can start with even the most basic software and still make progress.
More rapidly than you can possibly imagine, because their operating system is designed for growth. Fear, doubt, indecision, a lack of a definite purpose, these are the viruses of the mental OS. And until they are purged, no software, no matter how powerful, will ever run correctly.
This operating system and software analogy, it changes the entire game because it speaks directly to one of the biggest problems of the modern generation:
And what is that problem, in your view?
information overwhelm. We are literally drowning in an ocean of financial information. YouTube channels, podcasts, webinars, new books published every single day. It feels like everyone is trying to sell us a new, better piece of software. Learn this strategy, buy that stock. This is the new hot market.
And the human mind was not designed for that volume of input.
Exactly. And the result for so many is paralysis, complete analysis paralysis. They keep installing new software, but their operating system can't handle the processing load. It's constantly crashing. Am I right?
You are entirely correct. It is like asking an old, weak computer to run 100 demanding programs simultaneously. The result is a total system collapse.
So what you're saying is, the first step for that overwhelmed person, for the person watching this right now who feels lost, the first step isn't to buy another book or take another course.
The first step is to stop all of that for a time and to turn inward, to go back and ask, what is the current state of my operating system?
To repair and optimize the OS first.
Precisely. The first and critical step is to build an invincible mindset, a mind that knows with crystal clarity what it wants, definiteness of purpose, a mind that believes with every fiber of its being that it can and will achieve that purpose, faith, and a mind that will allow no temporary defeat, no criticism, and no outside voice to deter it from its course, persistence.
That is a completely different solution than what is normally offered. Most say, learn more. You say, build yourself first.
When that mindset is built, when that powerful operating system is installed, then every book, every course, every piece of financial advice ceases to be a new source of anxiety and instead becomes a powerful tool in your toolbox. Anxiety transforms into excitement, and confusion transforms into focused action.
That's incredible. So for the person who is now completely convinced and wants to start today, tonight, what is one practical, actionable exercise that can combine both philosophies, a single starting point?
An excellent question to conclude our discussion. Yes, there is a specific exercise, a two-stage exercise.
I'm listening intently.
Stage 1 is to build and optimize the operating system. This is done with my 6 famous steps. They must be followed with precision and dedication. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Not a lot of money. Be definite as to the amount. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such thing as something for nothing. Third, establish a definite date by which you intend to possess this money. Fourth, Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire, and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit, state what you intend to give in return, and describe clearly the plan through which you will accumulate it. And sixth, the most important step, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just after rising in the morning and once just before retiring at night. As you read, see and feel yourself already in possession of the money.
So, step 1 is the complete programming of the mind with purpose, a plan, and emotion. That's building the OS.
Precisely. Now for installing the first piece of software. After you have done this, instead of just thinking about working harder, ask yourself a key question that comes from Mr. Kiyosaki's world.
And what is that question?
The question is this: based on the definition of an asset, something that puts money in my pocket, what is one small asset I can create or acquire in the next 90 days that will move me one step closer to the goal in my statement?
A small asset.
Yes. It needn't be an apartment building or a factory. It could be buying your very first share of stock, or creating a 10-page ebook and putting it up for sale, or recording the first episode of a podcast you intend to monetize. One small asset that begins to work for you, even if it only makes a few cents at first. This action begins to shift your identity from that of an employee to that of an investor.
That's brilliant. So this entire discussion, it all comes down to one beautiful, unified conclusion. These two philosophies are not rivals in the slightest.
They never were.
Napoleon Hill, you teach us how to build the engine of a race car, a powerful, faithful, tireless engine that is locked on to the finish line. And Robert Kiyosaki, he gives us the map of the track and the advanced driving techniques. He tells us when to accelerate, when to brake, and how to navigate the treacherous curves. And the truth is, you need both to win the race for wealth. The engine without the map is powerful but lost, and the map without the engine is just a useless piece of paper.